The Texans have added another player in free agency, and once again, they've robbed the NFL. Nick Caserio is making so many great moves, signing these players to one-year contracts, getting some depth on the defense. I love this move for the Texans, and we're going to break it down onto why he fits perfectly into this situation. A division rival coming over. This is awesome, awesome news. If you're new to the channel, hit that sub button. I would really appreciate all the support on the channel, all the comments. Love, appreciate all of you guys hitting that subscribe button. And comment down below for me right now. Is this signing, is this good enough? Because I think this rounds out the linebacking core perfectly. If you don't know who I'm talking about, this is EJ Speed to the Texans, who just signed a one-year, $5 million contract earlier today. Breaking news. I don't know what Caserio is doing, but he's just pulling everybody from the market. You get a contract. You get a contract. You get a contract. All these guys on one-year deals, and they help out a lot. So looking at EJ Speed, he's a very good linebacker, a very good speedy linebacker. The best thing about him, he's only 29 years old, but he's coming off the best season of his career. 142 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, and an interception. Having somebody who makes flashy plays with a couple of acquisitions in terms of Azeez Al-Shaair, Henry To'oTo'o. So there's a lot that he can fit into when looking at the depth chart. He fits right in there. You have Al-Shaair, To'oTo'o, and Christian Harris. This is the problem. You have those 3 linebackers. Speed can kind of play a little bit of an outside linebacker position, so it really does depend on where you put him. He's a great player to put in the box on run plays. He'll be in on first and second down, probably with Christian Harris. I'm not too sure how they're going to rotate him in, but it should be a consistent kind of in and out, in and out, in and out between all these 3-4 linebackers they got. So this is an interesting situation. Probably some more depth. You definitely need an extra linebacker. I feel like the injuries that the Texans had last year, no signing hurts at this point. So with the offensive line, the wide receivers, linebackers, cornerback, you want to have as much depth as humanly possible. So EJ Speed, I wouldn't mind him starting, but I love Christian Harris. I have a bias for him. He's just one of my favorite players on this defense. So that's kind of why I love Harris. Just in general, he's a tackling machine, but I feel like Speed might take his spot. I don't know. I love Christian Harris, so it really does depend on where you decide to shuffle these guys through. As far as the kind of stats and what he's done with the Colts, he's done so well, and I mean, you could just look at the stats for yourself. EJ Speed is an absolute maniac on the field. He can cover left to right so incredibly fast, and honestly, this defense is going to be lights out. I mean, I know it's one signing, but looking at everything as a whole, this defense, like looking at the depth chart, Will Anderson, Sheldon Rankins, Tim Settle, and even some depth. I mean, Danielle Hunter, Azeez Al-Shaair, Henry To'oTo'o. So there's so much to look forward to this season. One of the better secondaries in the league now after drafting Kamari Lasser. You get Jalen Pitre back off injury, assuming they keep him with the trade rumors that we talked about in a previous video. Kalen Bullock playing that strong. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. A lot of guys are on one-year contracts. Gardner-Johnson and as well as the offense. But I don't hate any of these signings. And EJ Speed is one that is underrated. You can't discredit his quickness in the run game. He is 100% going to benefit off of being around other players that make stops, right? When you have a defensive line as good as Houston, you can honestly have linebackers that play those position roles so well, like EJ Speed. When you have guys up front doing the dirty work for you, like Sheldon Rankins, Will Anderson, and Danielle Hunter, causing those blocks, the run game and where those holes open up, Speed is right there to just pounce on the back. So, again, love EJ Speed, love his potential for what he brings to this team. But honestly, looking at this upcoming season, nobody is stopping this defense. I feel like nobody's stopping this team. But looking at the defense in general, like, I don't think this is fair. Like, there was a top 10 defense last year, and we're going to hope that the best case scenario happens, but because you never know what could happen during the season, and I don't want to say it to jinx it, but this defense is absolute monstrous. I mean, with a top 10 defense, you would think with a new offensive coordinator, with a new offensive line that's new and improved with a bunch of veterans. You're going to go get some in the draft. This team should be atop of the 1-2 seeds in the AFC. I know it sounds ludicrous to say as a Texans fan. I do have to implement my bias, but you're up there with the Chiefs. Even the Bills, I feel like the Bengals could be in for the 1 seed. There's a lot of teams in the AFC, granted, but I feel like AFC and NFC, it was always the AFC better than the NFC. It looks like it's starting to flip now with, you got Jaden Daniels, you got the Vikings are doing well with whatever quarterback situation they have, Kevin O'Connell making it work. Now the AFC is starting to have that struggle. You have those kind of teams that are getting in there that don't necessarily deserve it, like the Steelers. However, the Texans should be 100% locked in as one of the 4 seeds. But now what do you do? Because you need to get a high seed, you got to get a bye. I know this has nothing to do with the signing, but just looking at the future for the Texans, this should be a dominant season. And I love the fact that everyone's kind of underrating this team, being like, yeah, they didn't sign anybody crazy. They signed a bunch of crazy veteran guys to fill in the offensive line. That's a good thing. The offensive line was terrible last year. But as far as this defense, as far as EJ Speed, this is a team that is going to absolutely wreck some offenses. Now, the best offenses is sometimes don't beat the best defenses. I mean, look at the Legion of Boom. I'm not saying the Texans are anything near that, but even a MVP Peyton Manning couldn't get past that kind of defense. So, and you look at Patrick Mahomes, as great as a quarterback as he is, he couldn't touch the Eagles defense. So when you have just talent all over, and I love what Caserio is doing with the depth of this team, yes, there could be better at some positions. I'm not doubting that by any means, but looking at the potential and what can be with Houston with a quarterback still on a rookie contract, a very young squad, Will Anderson still on a rookie contract, Derek Stingley just got paid, but a young gun. So this team, I mean, call me crazy, but this season, I would expectation an AFC Championship appearance at least for them. I know the Chiefs are there. They'll probably knock you out first or second round because that's just who they are and what they do. But the Texans should at least lock in the division in terms of everybody else that is there. The Jaguars, the Titans, and the Colts are all kind of rotting away. The Titans are screwed. They have Will Levis. The Colts have Richardson, who can't get it together. And the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, nobody can catch the ball for him. And the offensive line has also been an issue, as well as the defense. But there's no way the Texans don't win that division next year. And now getting more depth at linebacker, I'm curious to see as to what Nick Caserio wants to do. Because every day I convince myself that Caserio is not doing anything crazy, he goes out and signs another player. So I don't know what to think anymore. DeMeco Autry isn't even a top lineman. He's a defensive tackle. So he's going to rotate in. Apparently Mario Edwards is in on the inside. We also signed Darrell Taylor for depth. I mean, Ronald Darby, he's a backup to Derek Stingley, but I don't think he's very good. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this defense, because I'm absolutely loving the Texans right now, loving what they're doing, loving what they're standing for. And realistically, the draft is the biggest, not question mark, but it's the biggest part of getting this season right and further developing what we can do this season, right? Looking at the offensive line, I would definitely address that position. But again, I've seen a lot of comments say we could go best available. I don't even hate that. But the one position they definitely need is wide receiver. Wide receiver depth, tight end depth, O-line depth for the young future, because obviously you're not going to keep those guys long term. And then in terms of defense, what do you go after? Is it just going to be a whole offensive draft? It's interesting to me because as crazy as an offseason as it's been for the Texans, I don't think they're done anytime soon. I feel like Nick Caserio might make a couple more signings before or after the draft. And it's just a matter of how the draft falls into play, whether they trade up in the second round, whether they get a good offensive lineman, whether they find a wide receiver they like. Nick Caserio is doing his work, and he's doing his due diligence on what can they do now. And I think this signing just kind of tells you that they might go all in on offense, right? They might want another linebacker in the draft, but realize they might not have a guy that they like, so they're going to have to go get EJ Speed, which I would rather than drafting somebody in the 5th or 6th round who I've never heard of and try and figure it out. But Love the signing for the Texans. Very underrated. EJ Speed, a 1-year contract, kind of a prove-it deal. There was a little bit of banter back and forth between him and CJ Stroud. A little bit of division. Everyone calling him he can't play. But definitely some fun that they're getting a division rival who's going to see the Colts twice a year. It's interesting to see how they're going to play against the Colts. I really don't know how this division is going to be competitive. I will say the Jaguars are a little underrated than people think. Anthony Richardson, nah. Will Levis, nah. So that's my take. EJ Speed, welcome aboard, Houston Texans. We have an absolute thriller this offseason. I can't wait for football season. We still got a few months. It's only March 29th. I want to see some football now. This offseason's so long. I want to see the draft in a week. I want to see players out there in a month. But we'll wait till August. We'll see some preseason football. And let me know what your favorite thing about this season. I asked like 1,800 questions, but just let me know your thoughts on the signing. And for the Texans' upcoming season, can they go and make it to their first AFC Championship? We'll see. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Subscribe if you're new. I appreciate all the support on the videos. It's been a lot of fun. Texans Digest. Loving this. Mike Zanetti. We'll see you in the next one.